Call to order City Council meeting. And the invocation will be led by Vice Mayor Rizzi, and the pledge will be Councilman Kelly Remmel.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for the privilege of being gathered here today to do the city's business on behalf of our constituents. We ask that each of us be guided by you in the decisions we make that will affect others and not by any personal agenda or ego. We ask to be humble in our disagreements and that we never forget we are here to serve the people of this beautiful community. Father, we pray peace and comfort for Matt McNulty and his family as they grieve the loss of their beautiful mother, Joy. We continue prayers for Officer Ruwan as he remains home recovering. And Father, we ask for your protection for all of our first responders, those serving in our military, and all of their family members. We ask that they each be brought home safe every day. Thank you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mayor Wilson,
Here.
Vice Mayor Rizzi,
Present.
Councilmember Biggs.
Here.
Councilmember Evans. Here. Councilmember Gremmel. Here. Councilmember Nesser.
Present.
Councilmember Schroeder.
Present.
You have a quorum, Your Honor.
Thank you. Consent agenda. As a reminder, all items under the consent agenda will be approved with one motion. If a council member wishes to remove an item for further discussion, the request will be made prior to approving the consent agenda and will be moved to a new business. Do I have a motion for consent agenda?
Your Honor,
Yes.
I move that we accept the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Roll call.
Councilmember Schroeder.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Rizzi.
Yes.
Councilmember Nesser.
Yes.
Councilmember Evans.
Yes.
Councilmember Biggs.
Yes.
Councilmember Gremmel.
No.
Mayor Wilson.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-1.
Okay, we have no awards and presentations. Proclamations to be done. Regional and/or government updates. Turn to, start now. Braden? No?
No, I have none, Your Honor, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I have two quick ones. We had a great Christmas party at Flatiron Park over on Saturday. One of the booths was our Little League, and they asked me to announce that this year's Little League has free registration. So please sign up your kids if money was an issue. The Community Development Corporation is still selling bricks for over at our focal point if you want to get a brick for a family member memorial, and you can go to the website, Apache Junction Community Development Corporation. You can type in what you want. You can pay online. It's all very simple. We have 2 current projects going on, and we're going to need at least 10 rollouts at $500 a rollout. And we're looking for donations for the end of the year. It's a nonprofit, a 501c3, and it is for off your income tax. It qualifies. So if you could, we'd appreciate it.
Robert?
Yeah, so we had a kind of an emergency meeting with CAG. They've entered into a intergovernmental agreement with PARTA, the Pinal Regional Transportation Authority. That's going to open up a lot of doors, do a lot of good things. As well as PARTA, representing 14 government entities in Pinal County is preparing to launch its implementation of the $672 million voter-approved 20-year regional transportation plan to help fund the roadways and public transportation services in the county. However, these funds are frozen in escrow through the Arizona Supreme Court, but the release is meant to set out to say, hey, they're ready to go. Once these funds are released, things are going to start happening within our roadways.
Shelley?
No.
Tess?
No.
Okay, I have a couple things in the aspect. Well, today, Vice Mayor and I went out to the airport and got a grand tour of some of the activities that have happened in the previous few years out there, as well as letting us know what the impact to the area and our community as well has been. Right now, we've got one business that's preparing to start operation in the first of the year, and they're now in the process of looking for approximately 250 employees. So there's job opportunities out there, and that's an opportunity to go out. There's also another one that has occurred, it's going to occur during the summertime, and you know, they told me it's been Mesa Gateway Airport. That the other thing that's coming in this summer is another job opportunities coming in, and of course there's more development continuing. So there's plenty of opportunities right next door to us, and of course with the development that the dedication and the throwing of the shovel that we did for this morning for the developments that's going to the south of us. We have an opportunity to have, I'm going to say, a lot of local people that are going to be living in our community and working out there at the airport. And of course, this weekend we had a wonderful opportunity for the, oh, there's the shovel, for the kids at Flatiron Park. And the possibility of throwing a snowball at some of the kids themselves. It was a great turnout, and it was well received by everybody. And then afterwards, we did the lighting of the tree, which I had some help from some students, and then the parade afterwards for the Parade of Lights, and it was enjoyed by just everyone I talked to. So, okay. City Manager's report.
Thank you, Your Honor. I just wanted to also add my thoughts, how neat it was to hear from those involved at the State Land Department and the builders that have been working through this process with the State Land Department. It's a very long and risky process when working through that process. Just how neat it was to hear them talk about our city staff and how well we were prepared to be able to answer questions about planning for appropriate growth and quality growth in terms of water, sewer, and being able to provide street and roads for that area down south. Again, this has been a long-standing goal to be able to connect up with Mesa and Queen Creek at the 24. And this summer, you'll see the ADOT project that's down on Ironwood and the 24 match up, and there'll be major changes there. They've already started about moving lots of dirt near the area of Meridian Road. We were today at the northeast corner of Meridian Road and Ray Road today. Again, huge compliments have been coming in on our parade. The Holiday Light Parade, it grows and is just becoming another event in our community. And then lastly, for my report tonight, we're very honored to have with us Representative John Fillmore, who represents our district at the state legislature, and we would like to invite him up. He's getting ready to represent us at the next legislative session, and he had asked the mayor and I if he could come in before January to listen to us and any thoughts we have as he gets prepared for next legislative session. Mr. Fillmore.
Thank you. Mayor Wilson, members of the chamber, I would just want to say thank you for allowing me this opportunity to come before you. I wanted to come before we went into session and stress that albeit I do not actually live in Apache Junction, Apache Junction is my home and has been for about 10 years. I live just outside the town limits. I want you to know that I am available 24/7 to be supportive of Apache Junction and any of your requests. please make them to me. My office is always welcome. I appreciate the service that you people have done, and if there's any particular issue that you would like me to focus on, I will tell you that I will be available for you.
If you're looking for some inputs, anyone have a?
I'm always looking for input, Mr. Mayor.
I'll say one.
Yes. go ahead.
Mass transit. Mass transit.
Mass transit. Mr. Mayor, Councilman Evans, I was with Senator Townsend about a year ago when we approached an extension of the transportation coming out here. I'd be very supportive of anything that is put on the table to assist in any mass transit and allowing Apache Junction citizens to get to work or anywhere out further into the valley.
Your Honor. I think along with mass transit, we're hearing a lot more growing pains, especially with the development down south happening in regards to the expansion of the US 60 from Signal Butte or Crisman. I can't remember where it widens, but moving that east into the Apache Junction area would be very helpful to Ironwood or even the hopeful north-south corridor.
Mr. Mayor, Councilman Biggs, I too am supportive of any additions of financial support we can get out of ADOT to get more blacktop out in this neck of the woods. I was down in the city of Queen Creek. I hope that's not a bad thing. Just yesterday, talking about some of the extensions they have down there. I know that we in the Pinal County are suffering a little bit because we have some transportation monies being held up by the courts. I hope that that can finally get rectified and that we can then move ahead, and I will do anything I can. I have taken a personal battle on with ADOT. They've had some agency creep. They have grown their police force from 30 members to almost 300 in about 4 years. I'm trying to break that back. It's a considerable amount of money. My attitude is that ADOT, the Department of Transportation, should be spending money on roads and not on their police force that I think is just arbitrary to what they were originally planned. So anything I can do for you on that end, Councilman Biggs, please feel free to ask for me.
Thank you, sir.
Kelly?
Ditto on basically what those two said. I think transportation in this area, being able to get people in different locations would be wonderful.
Tessa?
Same thing, pretty much. That's what we need.
Yep, yeah.
Yourself?
We know where to find you.
Yeah.
You're very reachable.
Madam Mayor, members of the council, thank you very much for letting me off easy tonight. Oh,
I got one in the aspect that, and it's one that I think it needs to be looked at as far as, because we're doing a lot of people that, come to our community and are, we want to be able to have 88 continued on through the areas heading up to Roosevelt Lake. So I think that's something that we need to put a little pressure on to ADOT into trying to open that up so that we can get that, say, flowing of traffic through that entire area again. And I know there's people and businesses up in that area that are hurting because of the lack of people getting in and out of that area.
Madam Mayor, excuse me, Madam Mayor, Mr. Mayor and members of the council, I apologize there, sir. I agree with you wholeheartedly, and I attended a meeting just last week in regards to an inspection and us getting ADOT to move forward on Highway 88, and that I know that I believe in the next 2 weeks we have 2 visual inspections with Senator Townsend and some of the other representatives to go up there and try to push ADOT to move a little bit faster and get that done. I believe that the money has already been adjudicated or allowed out there, but it's just not being spent as of yet.
And the other thing I wanted to express is, we understand the aspect of, I'm going to say, keeping the taxes low in, for the general public and everything. But you have to remember that we do not have a property tax here in the city, and we're very much dependent on the shared revenue funds. So protection as to what we are entitled to would be definitely encouraged and helpful.
Absolutely, Mr. Mayor and members of the council. I want you to know that on that point, I spoke yesterday when I was down in that other city to the south of us on there in regards to me starting a fight with MAG because I believe Pinal County should have more access to some of the funds, of the highway funds, when they're asking us to help them to increase their tax on their road. My attitude is they will not have my vote unless we can get a look at the amount of funds that comes into Pinal County, which will also help you, the HERF funds, the highway funds, into that area. I appreciate that we do not have an income tax, a property tax here in the town, and I know that you guys have to struggle sometimes because of the sales tax. It doesn't quite give you the amount of revenue that you should have, but the fact of the matter is that I will always work to allow my citizens in the state of Arizona that I represent in my district to have as low as possible taxes, but at the same time, I realize that we have to fund government, and you guys are the frontline people.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Forrest. Good
I
to see you.
appreciate it. Thank
Good luck
you.
there. Your Honor, we have Mal, you ready to go for current events? Oh, yep.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. Al Bravo, Public Information Officer for the City of Apache Junction. Excuse me. Again, just wanted to reiterate that folks that I worked with over the last several weeks from Brookfield Communities as well as D.R. Horton to pull together a really nice ceremony this morning. We appreciate all of you being there, and of course, we are very, very excited to see what transpires at the corner of Meridian and Ray and in that 4 square mile area. I'm sure we're going to see lots and lots of activity now over the next several months. Just one announcement to let you know about, and that is sort of the move, if you will, of Kids Idol going over to the high school. And it's going to be held now in the Performing Arts Center, the auditorium on campus there on January the 30th. You can see the information on the screen. You can always ask Council Member Biggs. He can tell you a little bit more about that. That is all for tonight's announcements, and it looks like that might be it for the year 2021, since we're getting to the end of the year. And so I appreciate all of your input. I appreciate all of you helping sort of bring more and more information to our residents through our community events announcements every week here at the City Council. So again, thank you, and a very happy holiday season to everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, presentation, discussion, and public hearing considering the application for Series 012 restaurant liquor license applications for Saigon Noms. Jennifer.
Thank you, Your Honor, City Council. Before you tonight is a Series 12 restaurant liquor license application from Saigon Noms. The applicant is here tonight to answer any questions if you have, but we have received the comments back from Building Safety, Planning, Fire Department, and the Police Department. All of them are making a recommendation for your approval. There were a few legislative changes this year that will allow a Series 12 only to sell for off-site consumption. They will have to apply for that separately. Bars and whatnot have a different application. I believe that's it. Keeping it short and sweet.
Okay, so any questions from the council?
I'd just like to make one comment that I'd like to thank Saigon Noms. In reading the recommendations from the police and the fire and building safety, this is what they wrote. Saigon Noms recently underwent extensive reconstruction that brought it into code compliance. The building has received a clean certificate of occupancy. And I just wanted to thank the applicant because so many times we just have so many issues with people not wanting to do it correctly, and you guys did it correctly the first time. So thank you.
Okay, would the applicant like to say anything this time?
Mr.
don't
Keating?
see
No?
Don't be shy, come on up.
Nope.
Doesn't want to come.
You gotta come up here to talk.
Okay. As a public hearing, would anyone like to speak on this item? And I don't see any movement from the group at all. I'll close the public hearing and ask for a motion.
Your Honor,
Yes.
I move that the application for a new, for a new Series 12 restaurant liquor license for Reed Cushing for Saigon Noms located at 1200 West Apache Trail, Apache Junction, Arizona, be recommended for approval.
Second.
Second?
Moved and seconded, roll call.
Councilmember Nesser?
Yes.
Councilmember Gremmel?
Yes.
Councilmember Evans?
Yes.
Councilmember Biggs?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Rizzi?
Yes.
Mayor Wilson?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, so the next three can be put together, correct?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, on number H9, H10, H11. And you don't have to read the whole thing.
Okay, and this is concerning the changes that we've made to city code for the boards and commissions for 9, 10, and 11. Joel?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. I briefed the council on this last night. It's essentially carrying out your direction to staff. That was made on November 2nd. And there's 2 ordinances and 1 resolution, and these are all public hearing items.
Okay, does council have any comments concerning this? Nope, don't see any. And I'm going to do these one at a time, so number 9 is ordinance number 1519.
Public hearing, Your Honor?
Yes, I'll do a public, that's right, public hearing, we can do it on all 3 of them. Do I have anyone that wants to speak on any one of the 3? Come on up.
I signed up for all 3 of them at the same time. Hope that's how we're doing them. With the boards and the commissions and
Name and address.
George Schroeder, 2444 West Virginia, Apache Junction. It just dawned on me all these years that we're not getting the attention to these boards. Very few people have ever heard of them, much less want to be on them. We are growing. We just did a stipulation to have 2 more, or maybe we're voting on it tonight, have 2 more board members on the Health and Human Services Board, or Mental Health, I'm not sure what it was, but anyway. All of them are centered around having discussions between each other, discussions with the public, discussions with staff, discussions with our new magistrate. I've been told, and verbatim from His Honor, these are unethical. He cannot talk to anyone. Those were his words. I've asked city council members, code compliance people, they asked to talk to him. He rebuffed them straight out. No, I won't talk to you. He won't talk to them. This needs to be addressed. I've already talked to Brian briefly about it. We need this to change. He is just a normal, should be, a normal, respected person of our city. Not above your law, not above my law. He should have to speak with the public. He should have to talk with the members that matter, such as the council and so on and so forth. So these boards all interrelate in that we need to communicate with each other, and they don't. These might meet, some don't meet. They need to talk. They need to talk to each other. But the communication needs to be there from everybody, not just the magistrate, but everybody. So that's the point of what I was trying to get at. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else wants to talk on these subjects concerning the ordinances that we're addressing? We had a rant going out on the outfoot. Okay, so I will now close the public hearing and ask for a motion. And the first motion would be for proposed ordinance number 1519.
Your Honor,
Yes.
I move that ordinance number 1519 be read by title only and the reading of the entire ordinance be waived.
Second.
Moved and seconded.
Councilmember Schroeder,
Yes.
Councilmember Nesser,
Yes.
Councilmember Evans,
Yes.
Councilmember Gremmel,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Rizzi,
Yes.
Councilmember Biggs,
Yes.
Mayor,
Yes.
motion passes. Ordinance number 1519, an ordinance of the Mayor and City Council of the City of Apache Junction, Arizona, amending Apache Junction City Code Volume 1 by repealing and replacing in its entirety Chapter 2, Mayor, Council, and Appointed Boards and Commissions, Article 2-11, Health and Human Service Commission, repealing any conflicting provisions and providing for severability.
Main motion?
Your Honor,
Yes.
I move that ordinance 1519, as read by the city clerk, be approved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Roll call?
Councilmember Nesser,
Yes.
Councilmember Evans,
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder,
Yes.
Councilmember Biggs,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Rizzi,
Yes.
Councilmember Gremmel,
Yes.
Mayor Wilson,
Yes.
motion passes, Your Honor.
Okay, resolution number 21-53. Do I have a motion?
Your Honor, I move that resolution number 21-53, a resolution of the Mayor and City Council of the City of Apache Junction, Arizona, declaring as a public record that certain documents filed with the city clerk entitled 2021 Amendments to Apache Junction City Code, Volume 1, Chapter 2, Mayor, Council, and Appointed Boards and Commissions, and Chapter 7, Buildings, Boards, and Commissions, listing the various sections be approved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Roll call?
Councilmember Biggs,
Yes.
Councilmember Evans,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Rizzi,
Yes.
Councilmember Nesser,
Yes.
Councilmember Gremmel,
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder,
Yes.
Mayor Wilson,
Yes.
motion passes unanimously, Your Honor.
Okay, ordinance number 1520.
Your Honor,
Yes.
I move that ordinance number 1520 be read by title only and the reading of the entire ordinance be waived.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Roll call?
Councilmember Evans,
Yes.
Councilmember Biggs,
Yes.
Councilmember Gremmel,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Rizzi,
Yes.
Councilmember Nesser,
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder,
Yes.
Mayor Wilson,
Yes.
motion passes, Your Honor. Ordinance number 1520, an ordinance of the Mayor and the City Council of the City of Apache Junction, Arizona, amending Apache Junction City Code Volume 1 by repealing and replacing in their entirety Chapter 2, Mayor, Council, and Appointed Boards and Commissions, and Chapter 7, Buildings, Board and Commission, Section 2-7-2B, Section 2-8-2B, 2-9-2D, 2-15-2B, 2-21-1, 2-21-2, 2-21-3, 2-22-2A, 7-1-1B, 1, and adopting by reference that certain document filed with the city clerk entitled 2021 Amendments to Apache Junction City Code Volume 1, Chapter 2, Mayor, Council, and Appointed Boards and Commissions, and Chapter 7, Buildings, Board and Commission 2-7-2B, 2-8-2B, 2-9-2D, 2-15-2B, 2-21-1, 2-21-2, 2-21-3, 2-22-2A, and 7-1-1B1, repealing any conflicting provisions and providing for severability.
Main motion now?
Your Honor, I move that ordinance number 1520 as read by the city clerk be approved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Roll call?
Councilmember Gremmel,
Yes.
Councilmember Biggs,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Rizzi,
Yes.
Councilmember Evans,
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder,
Yes.
Councilmember Nesser,
Yes.
Mayor Wilson,
Yes.
motion passes, Your Honor.
Okay. Presentation, discussion, Public hearing, consideration proposed ordinance number 1518, a proposed rezoning request by Chris Hundelt of Keystone Homes. Nick.
All right, good evening, Honorable Council. In consideration, this is about the third time that you have reviewed this rezoning case, and so I plan to keep the presentation fairly short tonight. I have reorganized some of the slides from last night's presentation. I'm grateful for Rudy, who was able to deliver the presentation in my absence. But again, this is the Havenly Superstition proposed rezoning. It is located just kitty corner approximately from where we are in City Hall. So right here is the City Hall complex. We're right on Superstition Boulevard. And Superstition Boulevard and Royal Palm, there's these approximately 15 acres, just for the benefit of everyone here. And this is proposed rezoning from the RSGR zone to the RM2 PD zone, which, just for reference, in reorganizing this presentation, I have all of the slides from last night if we want to review any of the rezoning the zoning maps or the general plan map and so forth. But this is a rezoning shared by a lot of the properties in the surrounding area. And again, this is for a 166 for rent residential unit development. So briefly, this is the proposed site plan. It will take that 15 acres, develop it into that. This is the this is a general sketch of what it's proposed to look like. There was a question raised last night over the composition of the horse trails. And while we have not worked out that precise construction detail with the applicant at this time, we will be working on that with them at the time of construction documents. There's the Equestrian Trail Guidebook that was designed by the USDA, the Forest Service, as well as the U.S. Department of Transportation. Some of that was even in coordination with a local contributor. And with that, there's certain standards of just how these horse trails are I guess, the standard for how they're developed. And we will be working with them at the construction document phase for that. So we'll make sure that, it's appropriate for bikes, it's appropriate for horses, and so forth. And we just wanted to raise that comment as an answer to your questions of last night. So with that, the Planning and Zoning Commission on just a couple weeks ago, they voted 4-3 to recommend approval, subject to the conditions that are found in the presented draft ordinance 1518. Staff recommends the approval of P2173 PZ, subject to the condition of approval found in the staff report, with special notice to the utilization of the former site plan. Just for reference, I have that right here. We approve of everything that the applicant has done. They've made a tremendous effort in really incorporating a lot of these aspects into the neighborhood, in adding these multi-use trails. And we still support all of that. Specific mention for this condition, and what staff deviates from the planning and zoning recommendation, is that, as was noted before, they have taken out access to Royal Palm on the newer site plan. So this was made into a crash gate, and they also took out, it's not noted specifically on the site plan, but they took out any of the two-story buildings. So those two elements are the only deviation that staff would like to keep in, as opposed to what was presented to the Planning and Zoning Commission just a couple weeks ago. So with that, if you have any questions, we have the applicant is here. They're ready and willing to give a presentation. We also have our city public works engineer, if you have any questions about the traffic report or anything that has happened with that. But I would be happy to answer anything I can.
Could you stop back for, I don't know if
Yes,
the
of
people in the
course.
audience had seen that one photo of the front area, please, right here. Thank you.
Anyone have any questions for them?
I do, Your Honor. Nick, can you go to the 1028 plan, I believe is what it is?
Yes.
Thank you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's my understanding that, yes, I understand that the developer has offered to take out the two-story buildings, but I know that they were in the middle of the original development. Do we know which buildings they were considered or considering for those two-story buildings?
That was never marked specifically on the plan. They had indicated that they were all internal, but staff had never received a precise plan listing, this is two-story, this is two-story, this isn't. So
Okay.
In regards to that, it is not noted on the site plans.
Okay, but it is 14 units, somewhere in that middle of at least 8 or 9 units that are going lengthwise.
North
That is
and
correct.
south.
That's what
North
they
and south.
indicated on their narrative.
Okay, thank you.
Your Honor, I would just have a question of the potential builder. Could they come up, or?
Well, we'll have them come up.
Oh, okay. Well, then, I'm going to ask questions specifically about what their thoughts are on the two-story and, and the other entrance that the city staff is recommending to go ahead and place back in, even though they had taken it out. So I would just ask for them to prepare for that maybe before they come up.
And just to reiterate, staff, we are supportive of the proposals made. This was an inclusion of this specific condition because looking down the line, staff believes that this would be beneficial to the surrounding area, but we are supportive of either outcome, so.
Well, a couple quick comments. With the picture of where the horse trail goes, the council, we've gone through this one time pretty significantly that there's 10 identified plants that are poisonous to horses. Is there a way that we can make sure that that list of plants are not included in the development, in the landscape portion of it? Because that's not something that's typically known by everybody.
So the trail of oleander should definitely be.
Yeah, no oleanders for sure, but there's 9 other plants to just be really specific about it. And I don't know if you have one here, where the second gate was to be along Royal Palm. Do you have the plat map of the neighborhood to the east?
So I do not have an image that both shows the proposed site plan and the neighborhood, at least not in this presentation.
Your Honor, the developer does, so we can go
Okay.
through that when he gets his presentation.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to touch again on those 2 stories. Now, when you're talking about the 14 2 stories in the internal, you're talking about this centerpiece,
Rectangle.
right? So I was looking at that last night, and I'm thinking, okay, that's 50% of those lots are going to be taken up by the 14 homes, roughly. It almost would seem like an afterthought, like there's no really cohesiveness going on there. It seems like the rest of the development was built, and then, oh yeah, by the way, let's pop up some 2 stories in the middle here. I personally would think that if it was just sprinkled all around, it would help a skyline. If that's the plan, that's why we want a couple different stories for different elevations.
And they may be able to better answer to that.
Yeah, Your
Like I
Honor, they
said,
can-
we were never provided a concise plan that showed what each unit would be. They had indicated it was internal.
But that was
yeah.
was a suggestion by
Yeah.
the city here to put them on the inside, was it not?
It was.
That wasn't them coming up saying this is where we're gonna put them, because their original map had a couple on the outside, a couple on the inside, but during the course of some meetings, it was determined to put them all in the center.
Well, we had never reached the point where we knew where they would be, but we did, based on what you're saying, that is generally how it went, where we met with them and they asked, well, if we have 2-story units, where would they be? And we did encourage, well, they shouldn't be bordering the surroundings, just because for the sake of privacy, more people are amenable to not having them look over their yard. So we said, generally speaking, it'd be better to have them internally. And while
But
we
the
never,
other-
yeah.
The other 14 people in the center would have them looking over their yard.
Yeah,
Okay.
within the development itself.
And Your Honor, let me just clarify, Nick made it clear earlier, he's saying we're good either way. I really think it's important that we ask the developer what their take is on that.
Initially, in some of the initial presentations, I thought they were all scheduled to be, or the majority of them to be 2-story.
I don't
Was
believe
that-
that was ever the plan,
Okay.
no.
Okay.
Originally, this is going far back before it ever was seen by the council. There were some other carriage units proposed, and at that point, that never came up in the actual rezoning proposal. We worked through that at the point of the pre-application development, but as I understand, this development has always been predominantly single-story.
Mr. Mayor, I'd recommend we just allow the applicant to come in and give their
I was gonna say,
presentation.
is there anyone?
I have one thing. Nick, on the ordinance 1518,
Yes.
on the 6th, I think the 6th page, it's minor. It's the
project-specific conditions.
Yes.
And I think the city added 12, 13, and 14. Does 14 apply to the horse trail? Because my only concern here is all multi-use trails shall be maintained in a clean and orderly manner. By whom? It doesn't say. So
Okay.
everybody will say it's somebody else's
Yeah.
job. Should we not put in there whom that applies to?
Yeah, I can agree with that suggestion that, since you read the entirety of that condition, all multi-use trails shall be maintained in a clean and orderly manner by the developer or their assignee.
Whoever.
So it can say that language to be more clear.
Okay. Would the applicant like to speak now?
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. Brendan Ray, 1850 North Central, here on behalf of Keystone Homes. If you're not familiar with Keystone's Home, they are a local Phoenix-based builder that's been building, they have a well-deserved reputation of building high-quality developments throughout the valley. And I have a number of them with me here tonight that if there's a question that I can't answer, hopefully they'll be able to, and we can get you squared away. Before I get into answering some of the questions, we certainly appreciate the continuance that this group and the Planning Commission granted to us. That continuance afforded us the opportunity to make some considerable changes to the site plan to better reflect and embrace the area that we find ourselves in, especially as we look off to our east on the other side of Royal Palm. We've certainly worked hard with the neighbors to try to address most of their concerns where we could. And we believe that the plan before you tonight is a considerably and substantially better plan than you would have seen had we visited with you back in October when this was initially scheduled to come. And we're certainly very appreciative of the many compliments that we've received for those changes. Compliments that I heard from the Planning Commission, compliments that I heard from you all last night in the work session, and we are grateful to receive those compliments. I think one thing that I want to leave us with and impress upon us before I get to it is I think there are four important points in considering why this, why now, why this location. And the first is, and the first bullet point up there is that this is entirely 100% consistent with your general plan. Right. It satisfies the goals and policies, the vision for the downtown area. I could go into great length of various provisions from the general plan that support us, but suffice it to say we are 100% consistent. The second one, and I think it's a very important one, especially in light of this jurisdiction not having a property tax, is that a good economic policy starts with a good housing policy. I've worked with a number of retail developers and throughout my career and have heard from a lot of them that rooftops are very important. It's very important for the businesses, and we've actually been able to visit with the Chamber tonight, and I believe they will speak, hopefully in support of us. I believe they will, but I will let them speak. And certainly the second one, or the third one, we support the city's vision. And I think importantly, when we look for that vision, this kind of sets a real keystone for the future growth, the density and intensity that the general plan calls for as you move away from Royal Palm and towards what I'll call the core of the downtown area. And the last one, we believe this is a high-quality community that through our design we have embraced the rural agrarian nature of the area. So with that, I can give a full presentation. You guys have been briefed, so with your permission, I'll just go to kind of the two questions relative to two-story homes and the access on Palm. Bear with me. I'll skip a lot of my slides so that I can get to the ones that I know we need to talk about. And that is this one. Let me try to clear up a lot of confusion, and I'll say this probably a few times. As we went through the process, we heard, and we're certainly appreciative of staff being supportive of our original plan, but we heard a lot of concerns from the neighbors about two-story homes. We heard concerns, particularly there was a couple that spoke at the Planning Commission, and we had visited with them as well about concerns about that access point onto Royal Palm. And we felt it was in the best interest to eliminate the two stories and to eliminate that access point. And we would request that our word be honored tonight. Put another way, I don't want you all to make a liar out of me and Keystone Homes from what we've represented to the neighbors that we said we would do. Now granted, you are the council and you can make your decisions, but I know in what I do and what you all do, what we say is certainly important. But let me get into the details of this and explain a little bit more. One of the things that was important was embracing, there is a property owner that has horse boarding stables. It's about the ranch road alignment. So what we tried to do was to ensure that when those horses would come over to our property, that they had an ability to transition safely to the multi-use trail. And so we've done that. You can see the detail on the right hand of your screen, and we plan to have signs. Those signs will be internal to remind everybody in terms of who gets right-of-way. And this is a sign that we've seen used elsewhere, and so we think that this is a good thing as we move through it. The comment was, where does that entrance line up with the neighbors on Royal Palm? And this shows it being closed off, but you can see that where that entrance would have been, had we kept it, would have put it right in the front window in the front yard of these residents. I don't know if they're here tonight. There was a couple. They did speak at the Planning Commission. Both of them did. I think there was 9 people that spoke. 4 of them had concerns, and one of those was the couple. And so when we looked at this from a traffic standpoint, our traffic engineer, Dawn Cartier with CivTech, who's here tonight, if we need to call her up, we had a total of 6 cars leaving in the AM hour. During that same AM hour, we anticipated that there would be 4 cars moving into it. Because of that significantly low, really low amount of traffic, we felt that we could close this off, respect what they wanted, and provide that crash gate there. When we looked at the impact that closing that would have on superstition, it was negligible, less than a gnat's eyelash when we're talking 6 cars in the AM in terms of leaving the site. We felt, and our traffic engineer felt, in the study that we provided to the city, supports superstition being our access point. The other thing was the 2-story. This was not a plan that was necessarily shared. Those dark orange dots, those are the 2-story plans. Contrary to, and I was trying to shake my head vigorously whenever anyone was talking about that. Contrary to what the belief was, there was never any intention that those 2 stories be internal. They were scattered, as you can see on there, just throughout the perimeter. And the reason that initially we had thought that the 2 stories would make sense would try to provide a little diversity in street scene in perspective, to break it up so that it is all not a 1-story community. There was never any consideration of putting it interior into the central area. This was our plan. But again, as we spoke with the neighbors and visited with them about it, we heard that there was a concern about it. I will tell you that the elimination of these 2-story homes did not eliminate or reduce the bedroom count. So we've managed to keep the number of bedrooms the same throughout the development, and square footages of the building still remain similar to where it was before. We've just eliminated those 2-story homes from consideration. And so with that, again, I can go into a lot more detail. I've got 56 slides. If we wanted to go through, I could. I will pass on that, though, and I will, again, we are appreciative of staff and working with them. We're appreciative of their support, appreciative of the Planning Commission's support. And we would request your consideration and approval tonight with what we say, not with what staff says in the sense of the 2-story homes and the access, but that you help us keep the word that we've given to these neighbors.
Okay, council? Kelly?
I'm thinking, can we start with someone else?
Okay. Tess?
No.
So to reiterate, sir, there will be no 2-story then?
There will be, through the mayor, Vice Mayor Rizzi, there will be no 2 stories.
Yes, Gail?
The last thing I want to do is make you out to be a liar to the neighbors. I won't do that. Even though I don't have an issue, and the fact that surrounding properties can, by outright, have a 2-story house. It seems kind of weird for me, but that was your agreement and you're good with it. I just want to thank you for this development. I am so excited about this. You've proven how new development can get along with horse issues, and to me, you bent over backwards, and I truly appreciate that and look forward to it. The only other question I have is, when are you breaking ground? I'm not anxious or anything, you know, just.
Through the mayor, council member Evans, as soon as we can. Obviously, we need to get through hopefully tonight, and then we will get construction documents prepared and submitted. I think our hope would be that people would see dirt moving second quarter of next year, if not sooner.
Okay, sooner would be good.
Thank you.
I have nothing at this time, Your Honor.
Nothing.
Okay, I did think of something, Mayor.
Got a question?
Oh, sorry, Christie, did I interrupt? Okay. Actually, two questions, or two clarifications, perhaps. I was hopeful that you could maybe just tell those in attendance the additional conditions that were discussed, 12 and 13, which are in our packet. If you could go over that. And then the other thing was, if you could also possibly explain to the audience as well that what the zoning could potentially allow versus what you're suggesting for this area, if that makes sense.
Through the mayor, Councilmember Grummel, yes, absolutely. So with respect to your first question, this slide has those 3 additional stipulations. The first 2 stipulations are stipulations that I've seen employed in other jurisdictions, where we have new development going up against existing ranchettes, agrarian properties, and stuff like that. And essentially what it says is, short of us putting a big pink sign out on the site that says, dummy, there's ranchettes in the property, we have a separate disclosure. Not only is there going to be language in the lease agreement, but there will be a separate disclosure that the residents will sign acknowledging that the area that we live in, and that there's going to be noise, flies, odors, and all kinds of stuff. And so there is that disclosure, that acknowledgement that, hey, we've told you about what the area surrounds. Number 13 basically says, look, if you want to complain about it, you can't go to the property owners, or you can't go to the people that you want to complain about. That complaint needs to go to either the developer or the property management company that maintains everything on the site. And then they, in their sole discretion, will determine what happens next. Because that is in a lease, it is a contractual, something that is contracted for, and so there are remedies available should a tenant want to break that specific provision within the lease. Mm-hmm. So we found this to kind of be a belt and suspenders approach, and I've seen it work successfully in other jurisdictions. Mm-hmm. And frankly, the fact that this is a rental community, if people don't like it, why, they can move. But we believe that this type of a development, a lot of the people that are going to live here will be ones that are already in the community. They may have suffered a tragic loss of a spouse, or they may be divorced, or whatever you have it, that want to live in the same area. People that have lived here and maintained and farmed and ranched and done everything, that want to downsize, yet still have the same church, have the same friends, go to the same coffee shop and stuff like that. So we believe a lot of our residents will come from the surrounding area. With respect to number 14, and I appreciate Councilmember Nesser's comment about the language. In the world I live in, number 14 deals with the multi-use trails, which would include horse trails. On the site plan, we've called it a multi-use trail, but this is a stipulation that runs with the land. So whoever owns the land, without it expressly saying it, that they are responsible for that. And I think the city manager and probably council would agree. But if we need to add some additional language to it, we're more than happy to. With respect to a comparison as to what could be built, this is a pretty good comparison table that shows. That first column is under the general plan. And if you look specifically, there is a definition of the downtown mixed-use area that says a minimum of 13 dwelling units per acre. I know that the planning department, as well as you all, want to see a lot more density in that downtown area, but the minimum threshold is 13 dwelling units per acre. The RM2, which is the code, that permits up to 22 units per acre. And that would give you a max building height of 40 feet. And the last column on the right is what we are proposing in terms of 166 residences at 11 dwelling units per acre and a max building height of 18 feet. So we recognize the need for the density in the downtown area, but as I mentioned, we believe this is a great keystone type of development, a cornerstone development to be able to set an edge and set expectations to allow that growth to occur as you move to the core.
Thank you.
I just have a question.
Yes.
For Joel.
Joel.
I have a question for Joel. This pertains to a letter, an email that we were handed that was, the person had said that they wanted it on the public record. And so, Joel, just when we talk about the general plan, can you just share what the general process is for that and getting it approved? That's voter approved. Can you just give a quick synopsis of the general plan?
Yes, Vice Mayor. The general plan sets the densities for the city. And the approval process is, it's created by city staff or a consultant. It then goes through the Planning and Zoning Commission. They vote on it for recommendation to council. Council then decides what they'd like to change, if anything. And then it goes on a ballot. That is state law under Title IX. And then the people of the city, residents who are voters, so they have to be registered voters, they get to vote on it.
Mm-hmm.
That happened back on August 3rd last year, 2020. And I think, Mr. City Manager, you can tell me if I'm wrong, but I think it was close to 70-30 for approval.
Yeah, it was actually higher than that, and I'll just add that piece when Joel started, that the part where we said that staff works it was 1 year. It was a whole year worth of Sydney going around throughout public open houses and other pieces of that. We did that internally, and we're really proud to say we were able to get a ton of input from the community to help develop what would be the initial draft.
Mm-hmm. And so my point in bringing that up is, it's tough. Change is tough, and when you have, a handful of neighbors that come and they have concerns, I have to agree with Gail on this one. You guys have been over backwards. I think it's a great buffer zone between our, our horse community, and I think it's a great development. I think you've really worked well and you've listened really well. And for people that feel like they may not have been heard, more than 70% of the community voted for a general plan, and so, it's tough. It's tough. So we understand when people have concerns, we do hear them, but 70% of the people voted for this general plan, so, thank you.
And I'm going to make a couple of comments here as well. Besides the aspect of bringing this up, this was in the general plan, and what was approved was actually taller buildings, like you showed, in this aspect on it. And of course, we're talking about something that's going to have a low impact of that view corridor. And it's meeting the, I'll say, what needs to be done in the area for future. It is also a good transition, I feel, between the higher density and the low density. I commend you all for working with the community and talking to them. I understand you went over and above and went out there and talked to several others as well in the area, and I appreciate that. And of course, I got the feedback concerning it, and tell you honestly, it did change some people's objections in this.
Thank you.
Thank you. No other comments or questions for applicant? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other discussions from the council? All right. Public hearing. I'm going to ask if anyone would like to speak on this. Come on forward. Name and address.
Mr. Mayor, My name, for your record, is Reese Anderson, and my address is 1744 South Val Vista, number 217 in Mesa. And first, just with humble sincerity, I wish all of you, your families, Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
As you know, our firm represents Bellaflor communities. We were here working with you and the staff on the B3 language. You will also note and recognize that Bellaflor Communities owns the 22 acres right there on the north side of Scenic, east side of Idaho, just south of what I think is affectionately referred to as Basin 10. They also own the Nest property, and then also with the old hotel site. We've enjoyed working with Apache Junction so much, we're now under contract to acquire more land at Scenic and Royal Palm, just immediately south of this project.
Oh, wow.
So we stand before you tonight, representing many acres in the area, voicing our full support for this project. We defer to you on whether there's 2 stories, single stories, whether there's 2 ingress and egress. We just think it's a wonderful project that is consistent with the general plan. It's a great kickoff and start to this long vision that you've had for this area. And shortly we'll be filing cases and projects for this and kicking off with that 22 acres there at Idaho and Scenic, where you'll expect to see both some for sale and some for rent, 2 and 3 stories. We're now contemplating and working with staff, even expanding to 4 stories on some of the other parcels that we have. So we're very excited about future development here in Apache Junction. I'd be happy to answer any questions, but just wanted to let you know that as the adjacent property owner, we're very much in support of this project. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
In the back.
Yes.
Kind of never did this before, but anyway.
Hold on, yeah.
Charlene Coping, and I live at 660 East Scenic Street, and I am one of the neighbors that is affected by the development. I'm south of where it's going in, and I have horses. And through this whole situation, everybody was really upset that it was going to, we were looking for acre property for people to buy a house and have horses, because everywhere is horses there. But through working with Keystone, Chris, and Krista, they came and talked to us. And I came to the conclusion it was better to have them there. And the first time I talked to Krista, I laid out all my concerns about horses, what they're going to do, plants, pollens, that the trees and things in the area, street lights, anything that affected my horses, Beth's across the street, the stable, because I used to board there years ago, and it affects, I'm an animal person, and I think about my neighbors and what's going on in the area. And Keystone has been amazing. They have, as you all have said, went above board. They came and talked to us numerous times and reassured us. And the 2-story homes, why we had the objection is because they block our view of the mountains. We went out, we lived there all these years, and we can see the mountains. My neighbor next door built a house, and he got the approval to build a house in this barn garage, and how he got you guys to pass it. I have no view of the Superstition Mountains. I have to go out into my arena to be able to see the Superstition Mountains. And I think that was totally unfair. I can't say who, what, how it happened, but if I'd have known, I could have come to you guys before he was building in it. Said, hey, I want to see my mountains. That has been my life dream. Horses, mountains, a river, but Arizona don't have them handy. But the point is that we didn't want the 2-story. I wasn't the only one. Everybody that lived there didn't want 2 stories so we could enjoy our mountains. And Keystone has gone above and beyond for us neighbors to be able to live with more people in the area and to make life easier for us. So it would be wonderful if you wouldn't approve the 2-story houses. I mean, I'm probably talking for all the other neighbors that aren't here, because we all talked about it at various meetings we had with Keystone. And The property is gorgeous. They didn't have to make the front as horse appealing and Western as it is. They went out of their way, and especially the safety of the horses. And people, cars, residents that live there, for safety, so no one gets hurt. They didn't have to do any of this. The apartment complex that's going down the street from us, we had no say in nothing. We don't even know what's going on, what's going up, how it's going to be, or anything. They didn't care about us. Keystone cared about us. I just wanted to thank you guys for listening to me. And I almost want to cry, but thanks. I appreciate you listening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's not something we ever hear.
George?
George Roto, 244, West Virginia. Couple good things, couple questions. So for first question, just for my mind, maybe I didn't hear the right thing, is the actual parameters of this property in the general plan? It is in the general plan, okay? Because, you know, I didn't hear in all this discussion over the last few months. Anyway, okay, so I just gave the gentleman a suggestion on Sunset Gold for the horse trail. It packs really well. I use it in my yard, even with the flood, most of it stayed there. They'll have to pack it down from time to time. And the weeds really don't grow in it. It's really good for that. So if you pack it down really good, Sunset Gold looks really good all around there. It'll be contrasting to the neighborhood and the project that's going on. I asked him about code enforcement. He said they would be welcome and be able to visit anytime they want. Because here's what I've seen, lots and lots. I've lived in the city of Chicago, Phoenix. Some of these residents don't feel comfortable with talking to the property owner or property manager. In fact, they get really rebuffed and upset, and then we go like, you know, nuclear, you know, sad. But anyway, so he assured me code enforcement would be allowed on their property anytime, 24/7. Now, I'm so grateful that they made the arrangements, that they did the concessions that they made. I sure want it to be nice if you approve it, and cordial all the way through the process. If somebody reneges on this, I want you, each one, to be responsible and do what the right thing is. Now, this is good for the future, but as the other gentleman said who owns property in that area, wants to build 3 and 4 stories, I can tell you right now, that's not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. So we have lots more people that like horses in the rural than we do high-rise apartments or 30-story building, whatever they might want to put up there. So please understand, it's never going to happen. So let's look at the project at hand, and that's nice. Let's keep it that kind of flavor, and more people will be, wanting to be on this side, not always fighting City Hall. All right, thank you.
Yes.
Good evening. Mary Ann Shabilsky, President and CEO of the Apache Junction Area Chamber of Commerce and Visitor Center. And as the voice of the business community, I will keep this short and sweet. The Apache Junction Chamber supports fully bringing this high-quality residential addition to our community. Not only will building the consumer base, this will not only build the consumer base in our downtown area, but hopefully it will also add to the local talent pool, which is so critical to our employers right now. So the Apache Junction Chamber recognizes the important impact this community will have on our area for many, many years to come. And with that, we'd like to fully support bringing this community to our area. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Saw your hand up twice. So.
Anybody else want to? No.
Good evening. I'm Heather Walls, the Superintendent of Apache Junction Unified School District, and I'm here tonight in support of the project. we're encouraged by the prospect of the growth, and we're excited to welcome new families and their children into the school district. So we support the project. Thank you.
Super. Thank you.
Anyone else? Yes.
Charles Beal, Lot 21, San Marcos Crossing. So I looked at the project. I think it's a good fit. I think a lot of hard work went into it to date. A couple things that stand out for me is lack of retention basins, lack of technology for the future. We're building for today, not for tomorrow. I think it's important to have solar. I think it's important to show water conservation. I think it's important to pay attention to what we're doing as we build these projects. On the parts of plants, there was a note on the landscaping page that allowed the contractors to sub any plants they want to. You might want to strike that note if you want to save those horses.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Yes.
Good evening, everybody. Ari Callen, 244 West 18th Avenue, Apache Junction, 85210. It's definitely a cool project. I don't know if it fits exactly. I know everybody has concerns, but they do sound like a great builder. My concern is, I have two. One, as we heard the guy representing some other companies, the 3 4-story buildings. Having grown up in this city, loving what we are and what we have not always been in the other cities, Mesa, Gilbert, Scottsdale. We've always been the diamond in the rough, the kept secret. Obviously the secret's out there, but we were the best kept secret for a reason, and if we start turning into 3 and 4-story buildings, we're just gonna be like every other city out there. Obviously it sounds like it's gonna pass, but since that'll probably happen, I would like a recommendation. Horsing community, 7 to 10 years ago, a lot of us knew Wayne Richardson. I don't know if you all know him. Local legend, local hero. He used to ride the Longhorn steers. One night, probably about a mile from where this is at, somebody unfortunately took his life. It was a horrible accident, car wreck, horse, not good. So maybe a recommendation, maybe some strict speed enforcement around this area. Because we know with high density, there's going to be speeding, a lot more traffic, and maybe we can do something like that to protect our citizens and community in that area. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, I'm going to close the public hearing. Any additional comments from the council?
I do have one, Your Honor.
Yes.
The Vice Mayor made reference to an email earlier today, or earlier in the evening, and I just wanted to point out that at times, not everybody can always make these meetings, and we do definitely understand that, but it's a great way to actually reach out to council and continue to have your voice heard. As if you're not able to reach out, we do all receive those emails, and this particular email was just was a follow-up from a phone call that I had with a resident who lives on Royal Palm, and I had asked them to forward me an email with their concerns so that I could share that with council through staff rather. So there are many avenues to reach out, and while I won't read that tonight, I do just want to make sure that it is noted that both Julie Fritz and William Cook are opposed to this project for the reasons that you all have in your email. So.
Your Honor.
I just wanted to clarify that the way the project is currently right now is no 2 stories and only 1 ingress and egress gate and 1 emergency gate. So I just wanted to clarify that for you. That's all.
Robert? But is that what we would be approving?
Yeah.
Well, that's the way it's written right now, yeah.
Well, it's written right now is that they're okay with the 14 2 stories in the internal.
No, he wants
to leave it.
Staff wants to wants us to change it, to add in those.
Okay.
So they're not there right now.
Gotcha.
Kelly?
No, Your Honor.
Jess?
I just want to say, I think it's, for our new downtown core, I think it's a good start and will be a great fit. It's, we need people. Everybody always is telling us how much they want out here, but you can't get what you want unless you have people. And so this is a start for our downtown.
I just want to reiterate, when we hear people cringe at the 3 and 4 stories, voter-approved general plan. I mean, you got to vote, people, you got to get involved ahead of time. It's in our general plan. I agree. I kind of cringe too when I hear that, but the majority of the people in the community voted for the general plan, and those certain areas do include 3 and 4 stories, so.
Your Honor, the only thing that I would add is the mention from Mr. Beal about the landscaping, and I don't recall seeing that in here or where it's at, but I'd like to address that real quick if we can, to see if that might be something we need to take into consideration.
Okay. Go ahead and address it.
I guess I really need to find out where it is, and I'm not too sure on that.
So
it is standard. Okay, thank you. Is there any concern about how that's worded in regards to plants being able to sub them out, and what could potentially affect the horses in that area?
So Joel, should we put that into a motion in the aspect on it?
But I think your motion, if you were going to approve, would be to amend number 2, and you could add some language at the end that could say, all plants shall be horse-friendly and shall be approved by the city staff.
Okay.
I don't know if that would work. I don't know if the developer wants to address that. Does that, Mr. Brennan?
Mayor, members of the council, if there is an additional stipulation, we don't want to kill horses. And the swapping out plants,
Obviously.
we'll make sure that the plants that we provide are horse-friendly. We're cognizant of that. That was one of the very first discussions, as Charlene mentioned, that we had with them, was to making sure we didn't have stuff dropping that would kill horses.
I thought we had that in our code already, but, I mean.
It's Mr. Ray.
Well, see, that's why I was trying to remember. And
I thought we had a big discussion.
Yeah.
But if you feel more comfortable to add a line at the end that says all landscaping shall be horse-friendly and the city staff, and shall be approved by city staff before it is installed or planted, something like that.
On the exterior.
Yes.
Your Honor, just one more question. For new development, Mr. Beal had brought up some good points. Are there requirements for new development to use water conservation techniques? Is that just for our city buildings? Is that for new development?
I don't know, Joel, do you want to chime in?
There's not, Larry might have to help me on this one, but, because he's the environmentalist, especially with codes, but I do not, I think within the codes themselves, there are requirements. However, to use the most up-to-date, to use solar, no, that is not a requirement. So, do you want to address that as generally?
And Larry, maybe talk about one water aspirational.
Yeah, the city does not require solar. That's certainly up to the developer, and there's a lot of history on the power companies and Public Service Commission and all that. So we certainly endorse it. We have adopted the new energy codes, so we do expect folks to adhere to the energy codes, which all these usually are Energy Star. Are also in the general plan is the whole notion of one water. So our ordinance currently requires xeriscaping, and we probably need to do more work with that and update our landscape code to make sure that we are, being as, water conservation oriented as we can.
Okay.
But there's nothing particular in the plumbing code, and I'm not a plumbing code expert, but I can check with Dave, and maybe those are things that are important to us. And again, I think the price of water is just going to keep going up, so the smart developers are going to be conserving as much water as they can. There was a point made by Mr. Beal. A couple weeks ago, you saw a project over on Tomahawk and Broadway, they have a lot of surface retention. And so they had, I think it was 17 acres, a little bit larger, plus they had the main floodplain going through there. So their development looked less dense because there was a lot more surface water, stormwater. This is all underground stormwater. So these type of projects, they're still having to meet our stormwater requirements, but you're just not going to see it above ground.
So there's not any particular codes about water conservation plants, water conserving plants or grass or anything like that?
We have xeriscape requirements in our code, and basically the
Okay, so
landscape
it is.
architect's designed to that. I think there's just a note that says, hey, if I can't get this plant, I can substitute it with another plant, but we have a list of prohibited plants too. But we don't go as far as say, I'm not sure that we have these 10 plants you cannot plant, but we do have a list of prohibited plants.
Mhm.
So,
So it has been a
That-
conversation, though, that's,
Yes,
okay.
yes.
That's-
Any additional?
Thanks, Larry.
And I'll close the public hearing and ask for a motion.
Your Honor, I move that ordinance number 1518 be read by title only and the reading of the entire ordinance be waived.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Roll call?
Vice Mayor Rizzi?
Yes.
Councilmember Nesser?
Yes.
Councilmember Biggs?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
yes.
Councilmember Gremmel?
Yes.
Councilmember Evans?
Yes.
Mayor Wilson?
Yes.
Motion passes, Your Honor. Ordinance number 1518, an ordinance of the mayor and city council of the city of Apache Junction, Arizona, amending the Apache Junction, Arizona zoning ordinance by amending the zoning district map, city of Apache Junction, Arizona, changing the zoning district classification for a proposed new rental community to be named the Havenly Superstition, located on the property described in rezoning case P-21-73-PZ, a request by Keystone Homes represented by Brennan Ray of Birch and Crociolo from general rural low-density single-family detached residential RS-GR to high-density multi-family residential by planned development RM-2 PD, repealing any conflicting provisions and providing for severability.
Okay, do I have a main motion now?
Your Honor, I move that ordinance number 1518 as read by the city clerk be approved and adopted with the following amendments for landscape direction around the exterior perimeter horse trail area be horse plant friendly. No?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Roll call?
Councilmember Biggs?
Yes.
Councilmember Gremmel?
Yes.
Councilmember Evans?
Yes.
Councilmember Nesser?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Rizzi?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Mayor Wilson?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously, Your Honor.
Thank you. Okay, selection of meeting dates and times and location purposes. Do I have a motion for the next meeting dates?
Your Honor, I move that the regularly scheduled work sessions of Monday, December 20th and January 3rd, 2022 be canceled and the regular meeting of December 21 be canceled also.
Second.
When's the next meeting?
Yeah, when did
Well,
we
it
meet?
only goes that far. Wait a second.
I would say January 4th.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tuesday, January 4th.
Okay.
So the 4th was,
And, okay. And the next regular meeting to be held January 4th, 2022. Do we have a
And
work
do we-
session?
so no, yeah, so the idea was to not have a work session, but
Okay.
if you all, Mayor, this is totally your call. If you wanted to
That
not do the
works, if
4th as
not.
well, we just go straight to the 18th. Just remember is it the 17th and 18th? We have Civil Rights Day on the Monday.
Right.
There's already an item for the 18th.
For the
that
18th.
Ms. Evans wants.
So we want to go to the 18th, not the 4th.
If you want to cancel, that is up to you.
How much would be on the agenda?
As of right now, we don't have any item proposed that I'm aware of for the 4th.
So then, no biggie.
I mean, the mayor and I talked about this, I don't know, a month or two ago, and it was just an idea that when these things come up, just, it allowed for us to go do something if we needed to on the 4th. Otherwise, you have to wait till the 18th.
Okay, so, back to the December 21, 2021 be canceled, and our next regular meeting be held January 18th.
We don't have anything for the 4th, or,
2022.
can they say it's available for the 4th, Jennifer?
So our work sessions and our regular meetings are posted annually, that they will be held on the first and third Tuesday, and then the work sessions are the Mondays prior. Council does not need to cancel, just if we do receive a cancellation notice, we post that that meeting is
Gotcha.
canceled, so the public is noticed.
So you could have it available for the 4th, and then we'll cancel if we don't have any items. Is that okay, Mayor?
All right,
Yeah.
sounds good.
One more time, Gail.
Make it to a vote.
Okay. Regular meeting of December 21, 2021 be canceled, and the meeting for January 4th, the work session January 4th for
Third.
the 3rd, sorry. I'm so screwed right now. The 3rd and 4th be canceled.
Nope.
No.
You can
No, we
cancel it.
want those? Okay, we want those.
We keep the 4th on, they can
Cancel the 3rd, keep the 4th.
Cancel the 3rd, keep the 4th.
Yeah.
We'll see everybody again on the 18th of January 2022.
There's a reason we gave it to you,
So the
Gail.
current motion that I have is that we cancel the work study sessions that are held on Monday for December 20th and January 3rd, and then the regular meeting for December 21st. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yes,
Can I
ma'am.
remove my second, because I have no idea what just happened?
Just say it.
Just a
Second.
second.
What would we do without you, Jennifer?
Hey, everybody.
Roll call?
Roll call?
Councilmember Schroeder,
Okay. Yes.
Councilmember Nesser,
Yes.
Councilmember Biggs,
I think so, yes.
Vice Mayor Rizzi,
Yes.
Councilmember Gremmel,
Yes.
Councilmember Evans,
Yes.
Mayor Wilson.
Yes.
Motion passes, Your Honor.
Okay, this is a call to public. I'd like to remind everyone, the call to public is a courtesy and not required by law. It's a time for the public to express requests, communications, comments, and suggestions. And the request forms must be completed and handed to the city clerk before the end of the city manager's report. All issues shall be presented in a professional manner without personal attacks. Under the open meeting law, the council cannot engage in a discussion on the issues presented, but may respond to criticism and may direct staff to follow up with the speaker directly or place this matter on a future agenda for council decision and discussions. There is a 3-minute limit for each speaker. And I have a few here, so Charles Burrell?
Deal.
Charles Beal. Looks like a, okay. Sorry, can't read your writing.
Good evening, Council. Charles Beal, Lot 21, San Marcos Crossing. I put in a call to the public tonight. As I looked at the developments that we're doing and as I reflect on all the thousands of acres we're getting ready to develop, I think that I would like to ask the council to take a look at our building codes and maybe accelerate them and bring them into the 21st century. Okay? I think that there's a real need. I'm sure that everybody here knows what our most valuable resource in our community is, right? It's the people. And without water, we're not going to have the people. So what I highly suggest would be to make sure we require hot water circulation pumps on water heaters on these homes. I would like to see Insta-Hots where they're not, where the recirculation pumps aren't available. People go up to their taps, and when I shave in the morning, if I turn on my water, I got to wait, 30 seconds, maybe a minute for hot water to come out. Now, when you multiply that by the thousands of homes that we're going to build, it's an impact on our water resource. So that being said, I'd like to read something from Tom Collenburn, if I may. And he said, "My friends, we live in a desert, a very arid zone on this planet. Water is very precious, It will not only get more expensive as it becomes more scarce. This is the only reality, and hopefully people will wake up to this fact someday before it's too late. We are one of the few states that consider golf courses as open spaces. How tragic that is with the water at a premium. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Donna Carr?
Hi, I'm Donna Carr, Apache Junction resident. One of the things is besides being horse-friendly, I hope they're child-friendly, and nobody's planting peyote. I think maybe he is saying something right as far as the water goes. I have family that lives in California that's having a hard time when they're getting told is you're only allowed to flush your toilet so many times a day because of the water shortage. Plants that are local, actually California paid people to remove the plants that they had to plant plants from the area so that they didn't use as much water. And I was just going to ask a question is due to the fact that Apache Junction is growing south and not to the north, are you going to change the center of Apache Junction to maybe someplace else? Because, probably the other side of the 60 would be good. And I'm not sure if I can bring this up at the meeting here or not, but I remember reading something that was posted on Facebook a while back, and they posted this web page to look at. It's sort of almost like Zoom.earth, but it had cancer-causing places. And do you know that we have one right here in Apache Junction, which is located, I believe it said, at Delaware and Guadalupe area. And somebody says, well, yeah, but that's an industrial area. Okay, well, do you tell those chemical causing agents to make sure they stay behind the wall? We do have Arizona Water uses well water. And I just don't want the water ending up where everybody around AJ ends up with the big C. So that's all I have to say tonight. Thanks.
Okay, George Roeder?
George Schroeder, 2444 West Virginia. Rapid fire. I'm the kind of person, I feel like I have two distinctly different personalities. I help people. I give a family $100 a month. They don't ask for it. They have an autistic son. Nobody knows I do it. You're not going to remember that I do it, but I'm that kind of a guy. I help kids with bikes. I help kids with work. I try to get them to my house. $20 an hour to knock in roofing nails. Wow. But I'm willing to do that. That's my neighborhood. That's what I want to do. Most of them hate me. It's okay. They're coming around and seeing what I do as a good thing. I'm helping my community. One house, one person, or a whole town at a time. That's what I do. See, you don't see that part of me. All you hear is this. I come up here and wah, 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 wah. That's all you hear. You need to know me better. I'm running for city council. I'm telling you right now, if I get elected, the people I don't like, just leave, because I won't make it where they want to leave. So we need to make the city better. The same old for 200 years it's not working for me. Same with the HOAs that they want to bring in from Mesa. It's not working for me. That's communism. I'm not putting up with it. 3, 4-story apartments, I'm not going to put up with it. So after the first year, I'll be putting together an investigative paper into how I can void the general plan. Don't think I can do it? Give me some more incentive. There's a way. These people around here, I don't know who voted for all this and all that, but they're not me. They're not the horse people. They haven't lived here for 40 years. I want to continue to see my mountain. Anybody who gets in my way, God help you. You're not going to like my personality.
You don't need to have
Thank you.
comments like that. Okay. Quentin Heiner.
Mayor and council members, my name is Quentin Heiner, 2002 South Apache Drive. I was the person that Rudy, in his first presentation, was talking about. As far as the homes that were around, my house is almost 40 years old. 40 years old, I'm having trouble. Anyway, all of them are single carport or single garage. My garage, I can't get my full-size pickup in, and because it's just too small. If you could see a way of somehow making a sensible way of a person being able to ease the restrictions as far as setbacks and allow a person to build some kind of a carport so that his property value will go up and, or our property value will go up, and we'll be able to use the front of the house better instead of saying absolutely nothing involved, or nothing could be built there. You go down the street, there's ficus trees that extend into the street, and they're massive, but that's okay. But even though it's obstructing the setback, but if you'll look at it and let me know, I also received the third violation that I need to take it down or be fined. And Rudy was good enough to kind of help on that and see if we can't, if there's some way that we can do this, fine. If not, I'll have to take it down. But if you'll look into it, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Ari Karen? K.A. Callan, sorry.
All right, howdy again, council. My name is Ari Callan. I'm an AJ resident. My address is 244 West 18th Avenue, 85210. Once again, my address is 244 West 18th Avenue, Apache Junction, 85210. Just wanted to reiterate that for anyone that is misinformed. I was raised and grew up here in Apache Junction. I graduated from AJHS in 2006. I love this town. I bleed black and gold. Over the years, our town has changed and grown tremendously, and in my opinion, we're moving forward, but sometimes in the wrong direction. We are growing rapidly while leaving many of our longtime residents quickly behind. We are incorporating many new families and children into our community while our schools are still underfunded and dilapidated. We are forgetting our small town ways and values and what it means to be a prospector. Once again, we are not Queen Creek or Gilbert or Mesa, we are AJ. And we must work together to not forget what has always and continues to make AJ great. And with that, I look forward to being more involved in our beloved city's matters. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, any comments from council?
Other than Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, everybody.
Yes,
Absolutely.
and I will adjourn the meeting.